Oh boy, look at this day out here in South Florida. The sun is out, the sky's a little bit cloudy, but not nearly as cloudy as it is over Wall Street after today's much stronger non-farm payroll report that came out at 8:30, but we'll get to that in a moment. So what is it that you need to know, right? So yesterday, stocks were churning and digesting the latest Powell commentary. Economic data shows that while inflation is cooling, there is a coming recession. Oh boy, is that a surprise. Bonds are rallying, sending yields lower. Senate votes to avert the rail strike, and Joey is set to sign that at sometime today or tomorrow, whenever it gets to his desk. And the non-farm payroll, which was due out at 8:30 and came out, and boy, did it surprise. Stocks are getting hammered this morning. And what do we have for dinner tonight? We're going to try the halibut with mushrooms, leeks, and clams. Delish, right? And not so difficult to make. Okay, so stocks were chopping all day yesterday, right? And then ended the day mixed, but lower, right? The Dow lost 200 points. The S&P gave back 4. The Russell down 5. The transports gave back 110, while the NASDAQ did rise by 15 points, but that has gotten so beaten up that does make some sense. All suggesting while the dramatic move on Wednesday may have been just a bit overdone and not the reaction that JJ was hoping for, right? That he thought should have happened. In any event, investors are still digesting some of the recent weak economic data. The most recent ISM manufacturing report revealed that manufacturing in the United States fell to 49. A stunning drop from last month's 50.2, down from, while new orders dropped to 47.2, down from 49.2, right? And anything below 50, remember, is the neutral line. So anything south of 50 is contractionary. And so we are well now and solidly in contractionary territory. The PCE deflator came in at plus 0.4%, up from plus 3. We knew that month over month, while it showed a slight decline year over year, 6% down from 6.2. Construction spending was off by 0.3%, leaving investors to wonder if the cooling inflation is now going to lead to that elusive recession, right? That's going to drag corporate earnings lower in the future. And that concern helped bonds to rally and send yields down. The 2-year yielding 4.19%, the 5-year at 3.66%, and the 10-year yielding 3.52%. Recall that yields across the spectrum were as high as 4.7, 4.45, and 4.23 only a month ago. Oil marching higher, right? It is slowly, but it is marching higher. This morning, West Texas is up, trading at $81.25 a barrel, up more than $5 from Monday, as investors and traders consider the coming ban on the Russian oil, which is going to happen on Monday, and the OPEC meeting, which is happening on Sunday, where it's rumored that the Saudis are considering another production cut to protect their interest in prices, right? To be transparent, there are a bunch of analysts out there that are saying that there's not a lot of impetus for OPEC to cut production any further, that they want to sit and wait. In any event, yesterday we did see oil challenge and fail to pierce the trend line, the resistance trend line at 83.60. But I suspect that we're going to challenge it again, and when we do, we're going to move higher into the low 90s, right? You want to keep your eyes on oil for next week as a result of all these events, right? Remember, OPEC, the Russian ban, and the discussion over oil price caps on Russian oil are going to certainly take center stage next week. And just an FYI, SC Bernstein came out yesterday, and they are suggesting that we're going to see oil go to $100 a barrel in 2023 as China re-enters the workforce, right? Gold, that rocketed higher yesterday, gaining $58 an ounce to end the day at around 18.17, right? Taking it right up and through the long-term trend line resistance, or right up into kissing trend line resistance at 18.24 before backing up. But that too, I think, is temporary, right? A push up and through resistance could see gold test the June highs of 1910, right? Currently, gold is trading in the 1740, 1825 trading range. This morning, stocks are continuing to digest the recent action and are now reacting to the strong NFP report and what that means for JJ's narrative. Dow futures are down 350 points. The S&P down 52, NASDAQ down 225, and the Russell's down 50. And while the Senate voted to avert a rail strike just weeks before the holidays, it's not doing anything for the mood, right? So I think it's going to be a very, very interesting day today as we dissect and listen to analysts digest the report, right? Today's estimates called for the NFP to report to show a $200,000 gain in jobs. In fact, the number came in much stronger at 265,000 jobs. Unemployment remains at 3.7%. Average hourly earnings were up too. So this stronger number is only going to embolden the Fed to stick to their guns and push, right? You want to see my appearance from Charles Payne yesterday? I was on Fox Business. We were talking about this. You can go to the Fox Business website and you can see it. We talked about the NFP report. We talked about what they did to CrowdStrike, which was ridiculous crowd. I think is a screaming buy down here, but that's a whole other conversation. Because I think you have to look at how the algos reacted to that news, but we'll talk about that another time. Anyway, stocks in Europe are lower, right? On the back of this NFP report, they're all off by about 0.5% to 1% across the board. The S&P closed yesterday at 4,076 as stocks churned, right? Resistance at 4,050, which we pierced the other day, is now considered support, at least in the short term, although this morning we sliced right through it, so I don't think it's supporting anything at all. Investors are now putting JJ's speech behind them and are once again beginning to focus on what lies ahead in 2023, especially after today's report. Now, to be clear, rates are going up. They're going up in December, they're going up in January, they're going up again in March, right? And if inflation is not responding at the pace he thinks it could, then don't be surprised if we see rates go up in April, May, and June as well. As discussed, I think the markets are going to churn here over the next 5 weeks, right? We're backing off today, and then I think we're going to get that year-end, last couple of days Santa Claus rally that's going to leave us in the 4,000, 4,100 S&P range, right? In any event, you need to stick to the plan as a long-term investor and take advantage of these drastic and dramatic moves. So we're having dinner time. We're going to have the halibut with mushrooms, leeks, and clams. This is the delicious dish. It's easy to make, and you'll really, really enjoy it. Makes you feel like you're on the beach with sand between your toes, even in the middle of winter for those of you up in the Northeast or the Northwest. All right, so for this you need halibut, you need mushrooms, right? Preferably oyster mushrooms. You need butter, 3 large leeks, salt and pepper, chicken broth, 2 dozen little neck clams, and you need chopped Italian parsley, right? You want to season the halibut with salt and pepper, and then just set that aside on, season it on both sides, and then just set that aside. You want to start in a big pot by a big saute pan by melting the butter over medium-high heat, right? You don't want to burn it, because you can add a little bit of oil to that just so the butter doesn't burn. You want to add the mushrooms, about probably 2 cups, and then you want to take the sliced leeks, right? Now you want to trim the leeks and use only the white and the light green part, then get rid of the rest of the stock. You want to season it with salt and pepper. You want to reduce the heat to medium-low and cook these for 10 to 15 minutes or until the leeks are translucent and soft. Now you're going to add 3 cups of chicken broth, and you're going to raise the heat to medium-high and bring it to a boil. Now, when that happens, add the fish and the clams to the saute pan. So put the fish in and then put the clams all around it. Wait for it to reboil, and then reduce the heat to low and cover it so it steams, right? Cook for 6 or 7 minutes, making sure that all the clams have opened up. If you still have any unopened clams, you can take the fish out and the open clams and see if the other ones will open. If they don't, toss them out, because they're not going to be any good, right? If the ones that refuse to open are the ones you should throw out. Now, you want to serve this dish in a full-size bowl. A shallow bowl is better, but whatever, put it in a bowl. Bathing in the clams and the broth. Topped with, you want the fish bathing in the clams and the broth, topped with the mushrooms and the leeks, right? Sprinkle it then with the chopped Italian parsley right on top to give it a nice, some nice green color, and enjoy this with a crisp, chilled white wine. And you know, for me, that's always Pinot Grigio Santa Margarita, but that's me. You can enjoy whatever you like. In any event, look, while the day is beautiful here in South Florida, it's going to be a cloudy day over Wall Street. Until next week, take good care.